next to Mr. Bakbans, we have Ms. Pearl Bengu, who is the Acting Chief Executive Officer of the South African Social Security Agency. On my far right, we have Ms. Zoto Amvulani, who happens to be the project manager responsible for the payment. We can safely say, colleagues, we are here as the South African Social Security Agency together with the Post Office to speak to the nation. Both the Chief Executive Officer of the South African Post Office and the Acting Chief Executive Officer of the South African Social Security Agency will be reading the statement. This is the joint statement for both government entities. Without further waste of time, I will therefore ask the Acting Chief Executive Officer, Ms. Pearl Bengu, to read the statement for us.
Program Director, thank you very much. CEO of SAPO, senior officials from the different government entities, members of the media, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. It gives me a great pleasure to welcome you to this joint briefing by the CEO of the South African Social Security Agency, which is the acting CEO, that's myself, and the South African Post Office CEO, which is Mr. Barnes. The partnership between the two entities is a true reflection of what can be achieved when government resources are pooled in pursuance of common objective. In his State of the Nation address, which is the SONA, the President of the Republic of South Africa declared the year of 2018 the centenary year of former President Nelson Mandela and Mama Albertina Sisulu. These caring leaders laid a firm foundation for our thriving democracy by fighting for equality, dignity, and the elevation of poverty. In 1994, when the new dispensation came into power, amongst the many transformational interventions, it introduced a social security program that sought to restore the dignity of the poor and the vulnerable. This was in line with the values and the aspirations fought for by the likes of Mr. Nelson Mandela, Albertina Sisulu, and many more. We remain committed to providing social assistance through grants to poor and vulnerable South Africans. Our social assistance program is at the heart of government's poverty alleviation program and central to restoring the dignity of our people. Through it, we continue to improve the living conditions of poor, vulnerable, and underprivileged South Africans. These include unemployed South Africans as well as orphaned and vulnerable children living in child-headed households. Government is providing social grants assistance to over 17 million poor South Africans through social grants. The majority of the citizens benefiting are children. The child support grant represents 2/3 of the total amount of grants administered by SASSA. The grant addresses poverty among children and has grown from 70,000 social grants in 1998 to almost 12 million in 2018. Social grants bring financial security to many families and is, according to the General Household Survey, the main source of income for many South Africans. Now let's come to the suspension of the invalidity of CPS contract. A year ago, the Constitutional Court deliberated on a contract that was deemed invalid and ruled to suspend the invalidity by 12 months ending the 31st of March 2018. This was to enable South African Social Security Agency time to put in place valid contract, which will, amongst others, include the South African Post Office. The former President, President Zuma, tasked the Interministerial Committee on Comprehensive Social Security to oversee the implementation of the Constitutional Court order. A number of media and parliamentary briefings have been held to update the nation, in particular the beneficiaries. As we approach the 31st, we are here to provide South Africans with the progress and confirm the state of readiness to take on this major task. Government is pleased with the progress that has been made to ensure that it complies with all the directives of the Constitutional Court. The service agreement signed between SASSA and SAPO in December 2017 enabled SAPO to partner with SASSA in a payment of social grants, ushering in a public sector-led and efficient grants payment hybrid model. We are pleased to announce a significant state of readiness for SAPO to commence payments on social grants and assure South Africans that social grants will be paid from the 1st of April 2018. The relationship between SASSA and SAPO to ensure the smooth implementation of public sector-led hybrid plans payment model has evolved positively. Now we come to the phasing out of CPS contract. In the past, SASSA relied on services of CPS to pay the 10.7 million beneficiaries through cash payment, direct deposits, and electronic payment. SASSA has reactivated the PMG account in the South African Reserve Bank environment is using to manage money for the direct transfers. This means that the money is not paid over a private contractor in advance, but remains within government environment until deposited into a social grant beneficiary account. SASSA has successfully implemented pilot project since January 2018 by directly paying beneficiaries who receive grants from commercial banks, including post banks. And we must say proudly that this now is being done by SASSA on a monthly basis. SASSA has made direct payments to more than 2.3 million beneficiaries for the month of March 2018, and this number will increase further in April 2018. The testing for the direct payment for beneficiaries receiving payment through the SASSA payment card was done, and 100,000 beneficiaries for March 2018 payment period. In April, a total of 5.7 million beneficiaries transacting through the SASSA payment card will be paid directly by SASSA without the assistance of CPS. In essence, by 1st of April, SASSA would have paid approximately 7.7 million of the 10.7 beneficiaries directly. SASSA also intends depositing money into the cards for those beneficiaries who receive their social grants in cash from cash pay points. The only support that will be required for these approximately 2.8 beneficiaries is the distribution of cash at the pay points. All the above transfers will be made directly from SASSA's own PMG account, which operates within the SA Reserve Bank environment. SASSA has already taken over from CPS the management of direct funeral policy deductions for in excess of 727,000 beneficiaries. These are deductions made in terms of Social Assistance Act and are the only legally allowed deductions made before the social grant is paid into an account of a beneficiary. You can say deductions or the debit orders. The 2.8 million social grants beneficiaries who are paid in cash at SASSA pay points on their normal individual payment dates. It is for this actual distribution of cash where SASSA still requires support. It is for this reason that SASSA brought a limited application to the Constitutional Court with intention of asking the court to suspend the invalidity declaration of its contract with CPS for 6 months. This is now for a phase-in period and a phase-out period. This would enable cash payment to be made through the CPS infrastructure till September 2018 for approximately 26% of the beneficiaries. A tender has already been advertised and payment contractor for cash payment will be appointed soon. The further suspension of the invalidity declaration will also ensure that a proper phase-in, phase-out or a handover process between CPS and SAPO. As you know well, this matter is currently before the court and will not be in a position to elaborate further on it. The ruling from the Constitutional Court is pending. SASSA is in the process of appointing a cash payment service provider who will distribute social grants using new SASSA SAPO card at all pay points across the country. SASSA, through National Treasury and South African Reserve Bank, is also in talks with commercial banks for the establishment of a low-cost account for social grants beneficiaries who receive their money directly into their personal accounts. SASSA is currently engaged 27 accredited cooperative financial institutions that may be used in the future to pay for social grants. I will now give over to my partner here, Mr. Barnes, to carry on.
Thank you, Acting CEO, and good morning, everybody. The Post Office is ready to play its role in the payment of social grants. SOPA will commence with the phasing in of and processes to ensure that the payment of social grants does take place without interruption from the 1st of April, as per the agreement which we entered into with SASSA. SOPA is ready to open the accounts for SASSA grants beneficiaries from the 3rd of April. The testing of the bulk accounts opening process with a sample of 1,000 existing SASSA beneficiaries' data was seamlessly concluded already in February. The special disbursement account has the following features. For once, reading the fine print will be to your advantage. There will be no deductions. There will be 3 free cash withdrawals. There will be 1 free balance inquiry per month, 1 free mini statement per month, a free full statement covering up to a maximum of 3 months on demand, and the first free replacement card. These are the specific services that SOPA as an organ of state bring to bear in assisting and ensuring better economics for the beneficiaries. Given the participation of SOPA as Postbank in the national payment system, an increasing number of beneficiaries have also already opened Postbank accounts between January and February, exercising one of their key choices of the hybrid model. Some of those beneficiaries are already being paid by Postbank, and some were paid in March. SASSA and SOPA are starting to phase in a process where, if current SASSA pay points are within 5 kilometers of the post office branch, and there's an extraordinary audited intersection of our networks, within 5 kilometers, then the post office branch, if it meets the minimum requirements and norms and standards, will become the pay point to replace existing pay points that are out there. The integrated payment of social grants will benefit beneficiaries and is very user-friendly. SASSA and SOPA, in partnership, will enable the development of an integrated grant payment system that's well on track. This will be a significant milestone in the roadmap of insourcing the grant payment functions into organs of state in the very near future. The integrated payment system will also be convenient, easy to use, and accessible to all social grant beneficiaries. It will also go a long way towards reducing fraud and corruption associated with the payment of social grants through its integration with the harness system, Home Affairs National Identification System. SASSA and SOPA will continue to hold regular meetings, as we do on a weekly, if not more frequently basis, to ensure that this transition is smooth from the 1st of April and beyond. The public partnership between SASSA and SOPA represents a model service delivery blueprint for government that is easily replicable in other service sectors. Thank you. Back to my colleague.
All SASSA cards will continue to work until the end of the year. I want to say to beneficiaries using old SASSA card that may continue to do so until the 31st of September 2018. We'll soon introduce the new SASSA cards via the post office, which will be a SASSA SAPO card, and beneficiaries will be informed about the process to be followed. Please, beneficiaries, I want to stress that they will be informed by the process followed. At the same time, I want to emphasize that our beneficiaries should stick to their own cards, and because there are no card swaps that are being done. We will progressively introduce over the period of April to 30th September, when it is expected that current SASSA card will no longer be in circulation at all, but it will, the requested date for the expiry is the 31st of December 2018. In the meantime, beneficiaries should ignore anybody offering them any alternative card to SASSA One under the guise that SASSA card has changed. For clarity on this matter, beneficiaries may contact SASSA on 0800 60 10 11, 0800 60 10 11, or visit the nearest SASSA office for more information. SASSA beneficiary has 3 options of receiving their social grants, namely the cash payment at the cash pay points, through merchants, supermarkets that have been used, they can still carry on using them, and via their personal bank account. Beneficiaries are encouraged to choose a payment option that is convenient to them. Those beneficiaries who already receive social grants through the banks are not required to open new bank accounts. Beneficiaries who prefer their grants paid directly into their bank accounts should complete a request for bank payment from the SASSA offices and the available SAPO outlets or SASSA offices. The completed form should be handed to the nearest SASSA office. We wish to express our appreciation to all members of the public who have called in to seek clarity in this process, and especially appreciate the efforts of community organizations, labor representatives, faith-based structures, and a host of other groups who have played a key role in sharing information with beneficiaries or members of their families to smooth this process. Special mention needs to be made of the many staff of SASSA and SAPO who have heeded the call to action to work in collaborative spirit to ensure that this partnership yields the results so critical to the life of our nation. Working together, we are committed to ensure that right social grants is paid to the right person at the right time and the right place. Njalo. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you, leadership. Colleagues, we will open for, I can see you are, Benny. We will open for questions here, and then we'll go to Cape Town. I'm sure Andile is ready in Cape Town. Andile, are you ready there?
Yes, I am. We are ready.
Okay.
Yes.
No, that's fine. Let me open for questions. I think we know the drill. Colleagues, can I just point the hands? You'll be the first one, the second one. Is there any other hand? Oh, you'll be the third one. Okay.
Good morning, Anton Meyer from Pretoria FM. Are you confident that 6 months is enough time for you to phase out CPS? You asked the court for a 6-month extension. Are you confident that it's enough time? Thank you.
Sbahle Mota from Jacaranda FM. I just want to know, where's the new Minister of Social Development, and just also her reaction to the progress that has been made so far with SAPO and the payments of social grants?
Erin Bates from ENCA. Firstly, if we could just get an update, please, on any contracts with work streams and whether those are going forward. Secondly, I understand that the design of the post office social grant card caused some delays toward the end of last year. Can you please give us an update on that and when the cards will be printed and how many per day? And then lastly, from my reading of things and being at the interministerial briefing in November, it seems like sometimes SASSA and SAPO are friends and sometimes they're frenemies, and that there have been several delays along the way, even in court this week, contradictory versions on why you had to go to the Constitutional Court for that extension. Please, can you just explain, is SAPO in no position to make those cash payments, and if not, when will it be ready to do so? Thank you.
Okay. CEO.
Oh, thank you very much. The 6 months request to the court, although according to the court is an extension because that's legally, we only need that 6 months for the phasing and the phasing out of CPS. That's why we're confident that 6 months will be enough. And then on the contracts with the work streams, as soon as Treasury declined the work streams, and then they also requested that they leave. We no longer have any contract with the work streams. And then on the cash payment, or on the design of a card, I'll give it to my counterpart.
Yeah. Thank you. I'm going to ask the COO, who's the co-chair of the steering committee, to talk specifically about the card design and production, and then I'll come back on the others.
Thank you, CEO. Good morning once again, ladies and gentlemen. In relation, as you know, that the service agreement was signed on the 8th of December, and December period is usually a freeze period. But as SASSA, as the CEO has indicated, that SAPO is actually ready in terms of the timeline as per the agreed roadmap. So what had happened is that we've done the procurement process. A successful bidder has been appointed, a contract is done. In terms of the number of card production per day, we're looking at 250,000 per day. So the design, everything that we do has to be signed off by the client, which is SASSA. The specification and everything has been duly signed. We are happy to indicate that right now the process is, the production process is underway, and MasterCard as well as Visa have received the tax card from our selected service provider. So as far as we are concerned, that process is underway. But also remember that the CEO, acting CEO from SASSA has indicated that the validity of the existing card is 30th of December 2018. But as SAPO, we are confident that the migration process will be accelerated, and we may need to actually cut that period down by earlier than anticipated, but we'll duly notify the public in that regard. Thank you.
Okay, if I can just add, there are a couple of more broader points. The first one relates to the cash pay points. I think right from the outset, we never regarded the delivery of cash to pay points as a core capability of the post office, and we would have had to invest significant capital to replicate the delivery mechanism that's being used there, which we think, frankly, over time will start being replaced with technology. Our contribution to the cash distribution is that we have, together with SASSA, worked out where there are post offices contiguous to existing cash pay points, and at a significantly lower cost to the ultimate beneficiary, we can deliver cash through the post office branch network at a specific counter. There's a lot of additional convenience to that, which is that, you know, the truck doesn't have to arrive at a specific time and leave at a specific time. The post office will be there all of the time. That will cater for about, a third in due course as we do the transition of those cash pay points. And we've identified 865 branches where that point of intersection takes place. And our training of the people is well underway to be able to deal with that. So that, as far as the cash payment is concerned. I mean, I think this question about frenemies, it's a new word which I'm going to add to my vocabulary. I mean, it's always, when we come together, any two service providers which have to find their way in how they operate, it takes a bit of time. And so it should, because we take the output very seriously. Let me assure you that on a weekly basis, more than once a week, we are an integrated team. It's not that we're just working together. We are actually one integrated team with very, very process-driven focus groups that focus on every element of what is a complex process when you try and get it all together into an integrated payment system. So, I don't know if you'd like to do a photo shot of Pearl and I smiling next to each other, but here it is, okay. We're working together, we're a team, and that's just how it is. As far as the 6 months, just to endorse what the COO said, our card production will be complete well within the 6-month period. I don't know the exact date, but if you take 250,000 times the number of days of production, you'll get to a date way before the 30th of September, which was always anticipated as a transition. The reason that transition is in place is not just to ensure that we get it done in time, but to ensure that the beneficiary has always got a backup just in case. And that's also typical of such handover things. Thank you.
We happy? I think we'll go to Cape Town. Ayanda?
Thank you. We've got one question. Two, actually.
Thank you so much. Paul Herman from News 24. My question are to Mr. Barnes and Ms. Bengu. My first question is, in the unlikely event that the CPS contract is not extended, what are the contingencies come April 1st for the 30% of beneficiaries who need cash payments? Is there a plan in place? That's my first question. My second question leads on from that with Mr. Barnes. You said that Post Office is currently upskilling its staff to aid with cash deliveries. I'm assuming that won't be for the April 1st deadline. Is this in view of being complete within the 6-month phase-in, phase-out process? What percentage of the 22.8 million will that help provide for? And then my last question is probably the most important. Has this messaging been communicated to the beneficiaries? Do they know that if they go to their bank, to a ShopRite, to a SASSA outlet, a Post Office outlet, that the grind bank cards still work? Are the beneficiaries on board, and do they know what is going to happen come April 1st? Thank you so much.
Second question.
Good morning, Linda Ensor, Business Day. The Constitutional Court judges made quite scathing and critical remarks in considering your application. Do you think they were incorrect? And I mean, do you think your position is defensible? Thank you. The delay and the need for an extension of the contract. Thank you.
Last question from Cape Town. Cape Town is covered. Thanks.
Oh, thank you, Ayanda. CEO, then Mark will come.
Thank you very much, Ayanda. In the light of the Constitutional Court saying no to 6 months, in our statement, we've elaborated what SASSA has done.
Can you put the mic on, please?
Is that okay?
Switch it on.
Still off.
In the light of the Constitutional Court saying no, remember I've already outlined that SASSA has already opened an account with the Reserve Bank as a contingency measure, where we've been paying the commercial bank accounts already are being paid through that PMG account with the Reserve Bank. What is going to happen then, we'll have to request that the full amount of all the will be paid to all the Green Road cards that SASSA is having. Remember, the people that are at the cash pay points are also using the SASSA cards. So on the day of the payment, they will all the people that are getting grants from SASSA will get their money. Their money will be in their cards. Now, the only problem that is going to arise on the day is that the older persons and the disabled people that are using pay points will be there with their cards, with the money in their cards, but they won't have the cash that is brought to them on monthly basis. So our contingency plan that maybe was not allowed is that then the problem will be then there will be inconvenience because they will have to be given pins and be taken to places that they can draw their money. Those places are the ATMs, the merchants, the banks, and everywhere else where SASSA people are drawing their money. That is one. If the Constitutional Court saying no, then we need to speed up everyone getting pins and making sure that on the day of the payment, how then do you take them to the other places, which is the contingency that we've had as SASSA for a very long time. And then on the part of the Constitutional Court, I think because of the time that is given to the council, they didn't have enough time to actually outline what SASSA has been doing all along. Because at the moment, I can assure you that from the 1st of April, through our PMG account, all the beneficiaries that are being paid by CPS, that function will be taken by SASSA, and SASSA will be paying all the beneficiaries from the PMG account through the Reserve Bank. Those are the things that were not said in the court. Again, we have taken over as SASSA the funeral covers, which is called the 26A. All the people that have got deductions or debit orders, or if you want to call it that, from the funeral cover, SASSA will be doing that one in-house. That's the part that's already being taken over from CPS. And we have tested, we've been doing testing, and we've been testing that all those operations are working. We tested from the 1st of January this financial year, and then everything is in order, and we assure everyone that we are in track, and a lot of work has been done on the SAPO side. Even SAPO has been preparing themselves to actually take over from their side, and we have done quite a lot. I would suggest that with the court, there was no time to actually put forward and explain what has been done in the period, because I think that's where the contentious issue was, what has SASSA been doing, and SASSA has done quite a lot from our side.
Thank you. Just to address the staff training issue and the timing of that, it's quite an intense program. We've got something like 743 people that are already completing training, due to be appointed on the 16th of March for those specific counters where we've identified an overlap. And we've got another 2,570 tellers that are going to get specific training, even for branches where there aren't actually going to be pay points. And those will be completed by the 30th of March. So well in time, we'll have everyone trained. It is not anticipated that the transition will take place immediately on the 1st of April, like with all of the other phase-in, phase-out deals. As and when we migrate from a cash pay point to a post office teller, that process will take place in an orderly way once the upgrade of those interfaces has been complete.
Furthermore, we've also looked at extending trading hours, inclusive of Saturdays and Sundays, as part of the accelerated program. Thanks.
In relation to communicating to beneficiaries, we started as early as the December payment. All the time when we are at pay points, we are communicating to beneficiaries, indicating how we will be effecting the payment. And we've also been using the community radio station through the assistance of the GCIS, but also all the imbizos and government functions where the population is there, we are giving information. Like even today, we are paying in different pay points. There is information that we are relaying to the community out there.
Thank you very much. I'm sure that both CEOs were very clear. That's why you see so few hands.
You asked for it.
No, this is the last round I'm opening, colleagues. So if you want to ask a question, please. Is there a hand here in front?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I can't see you properly, but I think you'll be the first one.
Okay.
Just wait. Just wait. You'll be the second one and the third one. That's it, colleagues. Okay. Are those only hands? You'll ask questions, then we'll give Cape Town the last bite. Then I think from there we'll have to close. Yes.
Janke Tolmay from Power FM. The legal counsel for SASSA told the Constitutional Court that there will be chaos if the contract is not extended. Do you think, is that still the position, or do you think the contingency plans in place will be adequate to avoid any chaos?
Okay. My question again, just about the absenteeism of the minister. I mean, we've just come from a reshuffle, and what was my other question? Yeah, and just her reaction. I mean, she's not here, and can you perhaps give us her reaction on the process between SAPO and SASSA?
Yes, and
This is for the acting CEO. Please, if you could tell us if you support the argument that CPS should pay 700 million rand of profits from its contract with SASSA since 2012 back to the state. And then this is a question for Ms. Mvulane. During the inquiry at the Office of the Chief Justice, both Thokozani Magwaza and Zane Dango were very critical of your role in the work stream appointments and also your proximity to the then Minister, Batabile Dlamini. Are you confident that those administrative issues have been dealt with and that we won't have any work streams involved in SASSA going forward, please?
Thank you, Acting CEO.
Oh, thank you, Program Director. Let's come to the chaos part that has been asked, which is very important to clear so that people are aware what's going to happen. On the 1st of April, should the court say no, this is what is going to happen. The people that are using pay points will be having their cards with the money, but without anyone coming to deliver cash. I think the council was worried about the people that are actually using pay points. Remember, the people that are using pay points are elderly people and mostly disabled people. So it would have been then for SASSA, I think he meant the process of SASSA, taking all those people from the pay points to where they can get their money. That's what he meant. Maybe chaos was a bit stronger word, but it would be a very inconvenient to all those people to be taken, firstly to be given pins and to be taken to the place where they can get their money. That is where we felt that for that reason, we definitely need the 6 months so that they can always get their money where they are supposed to. And when they are migrated from the pay points to the nearest post office, it's not a post office that is very far from them, so that they are not inconvenienced. That's the one. And then coming to the one about our minister is new. We're still briefing her on what is happening. But the one, why we're here today is more operational. That's why there are no ministers at all. It's only an operational level where we wanted to tell the South Africans where we are with the operations of working with SAPO. And then supporting the part of the CPS that is sub judice. I wouldn't really want to comment on the 700 million of saying they must pay it back, or not. The court will decide on that one. Thank you very much from my side.
My proximity to the minister, it's inherent in the job that when you are involved in a project as huge as this one, the minister from time to time will require to have reports of where we are, both operationally and administratively, just to understand. So that was my only proximity to the minister, as an official giving reports as and when it is requested of me to do that. In relation to the work streams and the appointment and my proximity to the work streams, as a project manager in an organization where a payment model has been developed by consultants, you have to understand that payment model. So that's how I got to be involved with the work streams. But also, as the project manager for all the procurement that are done, including the ones that we have just done now, when we had to get SAPO on board, it's me who is liaising directly with SAPO and like now, for leading the payment process. It's myself and the group COO from SAPO. So also in this instance, when I was working closely with the work stream, it was just for me to understand the model that has been advised, that has been given to them to SASSA, but also being the conduit between the organization and such consultants. But I don't have any relationship outside the working relationship with those workstream leaders.
Mark, are you fine?
No, I'm fine, thank you. Yeah.
Okay. Ayanda?
Yes, we've got 2 questions.
Hi, I'm Susan Seeger. I'm freelancing at the moment. It's just a question for Ms. Bengu or anyone from SASSA. At any stage during the transition or afterwards, will there be a need possibly to buy any infrastructure from CPS?
Paul Vecchiato, Bloomberg. Should the Constitutional Court approve CPS continuing for another 6 months, how much would CPS earn, or what fees will the departments pay to CPS for this? Thank you.
Yes, Acting Sir.
Thank you. At this stage, we are not looking at buying any equipment from CPS. That was the first question. The second question, the amount that would be paid to CPS, the court has again said that CPS will have to negotiate with National Treasury.
I think everybody's happy. Thank you very much, colleagues. There's Khomotso Diseko here from SASSA and Bongani from SAPO. If you want...
I'm just coming out there of that SASSA briefing, say that they will be ready come the 1st of April 2008.
In the case, I just want to thank you for coming here, colleagues. At least we might have a little bit of clarity. And thank you very much, leadership. I think I think we have passed the information to the communities. And then thank you very much, colleagues. Khomotso is here and Bongani is also here from SAPO. If you want one-on-one. Thank you very much.
Thanks.
I'm briefing my minister this morning, and then afternoon I'm briefing his two